Welcome back everyone. Today I'm having a look at Ozymandias, an upcoming 4X strategy game, a demo for which you can download right now from Steam. It was released as part of Steam's Next Fest. This game is, it's looking to be a little indie cracker. So let's dive in. Don't forget, if you're interested in historical gaming, make sure you're subscribed to Mission Pass and click the bell so you know when the next video is coming out. Now, the first thing to say about Ozymandias is that it's a streamlined, quick-playing 4X strategy game. You can get through a game in about 45 minutes, but don't let that put you off, because I think this is shaping up to be a nicely refined game. It plays out on a hexed-based map, and at the beginning of a game, you choose from a number of civilizations, each with their own unique balance of abilities, and you start with one city and control of the hexes all around that city. And each turn, you decide what to do with your resources. There are 4 resources: food, technology, wealth, and power. You can spend food to expand your territory, and the further away from a city the territory is, the more expensive it is to take over. You can build cities with food too, and you also need food to move your armies. The more hexes you control, the more resources that generates. With technology points, you can spend them to research new technologies, for example, making it cheaper to take over certain tile types like sea or mountainous tile terrains will cost you less food to take over. Other technologies make your armies or navies better at fighting on certain terrain hexes, and some technologies increase the amount of resources you get per round from the hexes you control. With wealth, you can raise armies and navies and choose to spend some of it on buying the other 3 resources, and power controls whether you win military battles. Combat has been abstracted, as it says on the Steam page. That basically means that it's massively simplified, so that all you do is move units around the map. You don't control or micromanage the actual battles. You can only move them into tiles that you control, but if they're adjacent to an enemy tile, you'll see a sort of hashed area appear. That means next turn, if your army is unopposed, they'll take it over and that area will become yours. If there's an enemy army next door, whichever empire has the higher power rating, then that army will win and the tile will be taken over by that civilization. Now, the first time I played this game, the fact that the combat wasn't as involved as other 4X strategies was a bit of a turn-off, but don't let that trick you. It actually works really well because the whole game is streamlined, so the military component of it takes up just enough of your time and just enough of your strategic thinking to fit in with the rest of the game. And you have to think carefully about where you deploy your armies, where you build your cities, which makes taking over the surrounding areas more easy, and so everything slots together nicely in that strategic layer. One other thing to mention is you get a choice each round from 2 new opportunity cards. If you fulfill the criteria on the card, you'll get a reward. So for example, I completed here the task of building a city on an island, and that gave me more technology points. You can have a maximum of 3 opportunity cards in play at a time. You'll be fighting against AI or other human players in multiplayer, although multiplayer isn't in this demo. And you'll all be vying to be first to complete a number of what I believe are randomly generated victory conditions. So for example, you have to take over a certain amount of hexes, or have an army of a certain size, or carry out a certain amount of research. And once you tick enough boxes on the victory conditions list, then you'll win the game. Also, depending on where the civilization you choose starts on the map, some are a lot more easier to play than others. So even in this demo, there's quite a lot of replayability. Now, Ozymandias is set during the Bronze Age. That's the time when the first civilizations were coming into being across the world, the first urban centers were developed, the first laws were being written down and things like that. In the finished game, you'll be able to choose from 8 different maps across the world, and from 52 different civilizations, each with unique abilities. Take the Egyptians, for example. They're a bureaucratic civilization, so they get buffs to research and a reduction in the amount of resources that they waste, but expanding your land and your cities costs extra food. One thing I want to mention is the tutorial, at which point you're thinking, who cares about the flipping tutorial, right? But it's a sort of mini story campaign narrated by and following in the footsteps of a real English early adventurer and archaeologist called Gertrude Bell. an incredible lady who travelled many times to the Middle East and explored and wrote about Mesopotamia and the civilisations there. When she was 34, she almost died attempting to climb a mountain in Switzerland. Apparently, she was hanging off the side of it on a rope for 48 hours and almost died. Amongst other things, she was one of the first people to insist that artefacts should stay in the country in which they were found rather than being shipped abroad. She was also a founding member of the Women's National Anti-Suffrage League in the UK, which means that she was a founding member of an organisation against the right for women to have the vote. So, I mean, maybe that's why she's sort of been forgotten to history. Discuss. Anyway, her life and times narrates the 4-part brilliant mini story campaign that makes up the tutorial in this game. So Ozymandias, well worth a download if you like the look of it. If you want to be kept abreast of other upcoming historical games, then make sure you're subscribed. Give this video a like if it helped you out, and let me know in the comments whether you're liking the look of Ozymandias or whether you've tried it. So, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.